How long is the government of Bangladesh going to be able to host refugees from Myanmar? How long is the fighting in Rakhine State going to continue? How long do the Rohingya have to wait before they're able to come back to Myanmar? How long are we going to have to wait before we see real progress on the Bangladesh-Myanmar border? That is what we're going to talk about today. Hello everyone, it's Asian Anthony, and in this video, the Bangladesh-Myanmar border. Now, if you didn't know, the Bangladesh-Myanmar border is absolutely chaotic right now. A lot of fighting going on from multiple factions in multiple different directions. Right now, there's about 1.1 million refugees on the Bangladesh side of the Myanmar-Bangladesh border. Most of these refugees stay in an area called Bazar Cox. Now, most of these refugees are Rohingya. Rohingya are Muslim and Bangladesh is Muslim. So it seems like a good fit. So once the fighting started and the violence started towards the Rohingya in the Myanmar, the part of Rakhine State, a lot of these refugees, almost 1 million, went to Bangladesh. And this is because Bangladesh was Muslim and Bangladesh was close. But just because they fled does not mean they fled from the government. Unfortunately, there's another group whose name I will not say, out of respect to them and the government, that also don't like the Rohingya. The Rohingya are Muslim. Myanmar is a predominantly Buddhist country, and there's some conflicts there. Now, if you live in Myanmar like I do, you know that there's Muslims everywhere. I've never seen a problem. I've never heard of any problems. This is not an anti-Muslim country. But there are some anti-Muslim conflicts. And if you want to know more about that, I can make a separate video about that. But the Rohingya know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, in Rakhine State, which is on the border of Bangladesh on the Myanmar side, there is a wealth of investments going on from their neighbors like India and China. And this is a complete gold mine if you are one of the people, one of the ethnic people in this area. But the government does not have control. So who has control? Now, some people say that Rakhine State is fully controlled by the local militia there, whose name I will not say out of respect. Other people say about 75%, or maybe even half of Rakhine State is controlled by the local militia there. Doesn't matter how you flip it. The local militia there is a force to be reckoned with, and they have seen a lot of military gains. So much so that they're even starting to do all the policing and the governance in this area. And this is according to the foreign minister of Bangladesh. So it's Bangladesh that has to consult with this new reality on the ground. Now, recently in June 2026, the local militias actually arrested a Bangladesh citizen for interfering in Rakhine waters. The reason why this is important is because this shows that this group is organized and they're serious about governing Rakhine State. Also, the foreign minister there has said that now they not only need to talk to the central government of Myanmar, but now they need to have diplomatic talks with the governing party in Rakhine State, which is the militia group that starts with the A, whose name I will not say. And this is a big deal, okay, because this shows that there's a shift in the tide, okay? And also there's even been some recruitment from the local militias on the Bangladesh side of the Myanmar-Bangladesh border. Now, on the Bangladesh side of the Myanmar-Bangladesh border, there are estimates that say an additional 100,000 Rohingya have come in the year 2026 and late 2025, raising the current total to 1.2 million if these estimates are correct. But over this same period, there has been a 26% drop in UN funding, which is devastating because that makes it more difficult for the government of Bangladesh to help and administer any type of supplies or food for these people. But there is some good news. June of 2026, June 20th of 2026, the EU actually announced that they are going to be donating $4 14 million euros to this issue. And this is mostly because there's about 235,000 kids on the Bangladesh side of the Myanmar-Bangladesh border that are not in school, okay? And they're really trying to help this issue. Also, the United States has claimed that they have about $141 million that they're going to be helping to all the Myanmar-related causes. Now, I'm trying to track this money very closely, but so far, I don't think they've spent any amount of it. If anyone has any information on this money coming from the U.S., please let me know. But I say all that to say this. The situation on the border of Myanmar and Bangladesh is very chaotic. Lots of fighting. There's airplane strikes. There's back and forth gunfire. But that will not be the situation forever. Countries like Japan, China, of course, the United States, Thailand, all of the ASEAN nations, India, and of course, Bangladesh, they have taken a lot more notice this year. And just because it's not as publicized as some of these other international conflicts, do not make the mistake of thinking that no one is thinking about this issue. It is a big deal, and there are a lot of players behind closed doors that are changing laws and getting funding ready to help attack this issue. If anybody wants any type of information on this, if anybody wants me to do a video on any of this funding or any of these laws being changed, trust me, I will make a video. I think I've probably made some videos in the past about this. But keep in mind, until the Rohingya are allowed back into Myanmar, their homes, until the fighting in Rakhine stops for good, until we come to some type of conclusion on the government, Myanmar cannot move forward. We have to work together, and we have to allow the country to heal.